We are going to bring out our next Tales of Pride speaker. Our next performer is the artistic director of the Deaf Austin Theater. You can catch him performing in the Laramie Project this fall. Yay! Or maybe you may have seen him interpreting at the Pink, Lizzo, or Imagine Dragon concerts. Yes. Or his ASL songs on TikTok. Oh my God, we're gonna have to find that. Obviously, he is no stranger to the stage. Please welcome Dr. Brian.
I don't need that. Hello, everyone. My name is Brian, and I am a recovering teacher. Thank you. All right, so my story is called Tales from a Gay Teacher in Texas. So, as a gay teacher in Texas, it's very different. What I mean by that is talk about high risk every single day. Life is very risky. And I never thought I wanted to become a teacher when I was younger. Growing up in Ohio.
I'll see you on Saturday.
So, growing up in Ohio, I wanted to become a magician, a policeman, a sailor, an actor. So with that list of professions, you can tell that obviously I love the spotlight. I also have a fetish for uniforms. So I didn't actually decide to become a teacher until I was in my 30s. And I know what you're all saying. I know what you're all thinking right now. 30? But Brian, that was what, yesterday? No. I have good Italian genes from my mom. And I actually just became 42. July was my birthday. So my Italian genes are from my mom, like I said. I also got my deafness from my mom. From my dad, I got my gayness. So I am the best of both worlds. All right, so growing up with a gay dad, it was not always great. Really, it was not great at all. My dad had a lot of internalized homophobia. He didn't come out till I was about 18. He was hidden when I was growing up. He had an affair on my mom. And I found out about him when I was about 13. I was a really, really nosy kid. And I had an overactive imagination. I was always going through people's things. And one night, everyone was sleeping, and I was looking around in my dad's briefcase. I pulled something out. It was a VHS tape. There was no label on it. So those of you who have no idea what VHS means, what that is what, it was before DVDs, what movies were on before DVDs. And if you don't know what a DVD is, fuck you up. So anyway, I pick up the VHS and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. My imagination was going wild. I was thinking, oh my God, my dad is having an affair with his secretary and the two of them made a movie of them fucking. And, well, I watched it. I watched Days of Our Lives almost every day, so I had a very overactive imagination. This is what I'm thinking about. So, So when you find a recording of your dad's affair with a secretary, what do? Obviously, you put it in the VCR and you play it. So I put it in, press play, and I was floored. It was a bunch of naked guys having sex. So my first thought was, whoa, OMG, my dad's gay. My second thought, this is hot. So that's how I figured out that I was gay. Age 13. So some of you were thinking, wow, that's so cool, Brian, to have a gay dad. No, it's not. My dad was a closeted gay person. It's awkward when you know your dad's gay, and you know, but he doesn't know you know. Ugh. Yeah, so you notice a lot. I noticed a lot of different things. So to summarize a few scenes from my childhood, my dad was always yelling at me. If I was behaving too effeminately, or, if I was talking in a high voice, whatever, he would yell at me. He would just yell at me for that. But my dad had a best friend, and his best friend was a flaming gay man. It's obvious that the two of them were fucking. And his best friend would come over to our house all the time. He would go on family vacations with us. And this guy also became best friends with my mom. So my mom and my dad separated, and my dad said, oh, I don't want to be with you because, you're a lousy cook and you're fat. He had a long list of things for my mom, lots of excuses. My dad finally came out. He told my mom that he was gay while my mom was in the hospital having a hysterectomy. Wow, yeah. Yeah, good timing. So anyway, he finally came out to me when I was 18, and I said, oh yeah, I already know. I found your porn when I was like 13. And my dad said to me, well, maybe if you would have said something back then, we wouldn't be here right now. And I was like, what the fuck, Dad? It is not my job to out you. So I was 18, and I didn't come out until after my dad came out. I didn't want to come out the same night because he was going to steal my spotlight. And I was like, no, thank you. So it was probably a couple of months later that I came out. So I'd been chatting online with, guys on AOL IM and gay.com. Anybody remember gay.com? Yep. I miss that shit. So anyway, I made my first date with a guy, and I'm in the bathroom at the house getting ready. My mom comes in, and my mom says, oh, so you're about to go out on a date? And I said, yeah, just doing my hair. And she says, with a guy? And I froze. I said, yep. My mom says, okay, have fun. Don't have sex. I was shocked. My mom obviously caught that. But she said, Brian, I love you no matter what.
Yes.
Yeah, I love my mom.
Yeah.
She's awesome. Yeah, you can give a round of applause for my mom, please. So, yeah, I'm going to tell her on text later that you all applauded her. So, I'm 18, I'm gay, I'm dating, I'm going out to the clubs, I'm going out dancing, I'm going to the bathhouse, and, I'm living in the same city as my gay dad. ... Yep. Yes, it's shocking. Yeah, it's a shocking, crazy feeling when you're in a dark club, you're on a box, you're dancing, you're listening to Pepper Mache, and you're just, diving on the bowl, you're just dancing, and all of a sudden you think to yourself, is my dad out there in the crowd watching me? Ugh. Anyway. One time I did actually, at the bathhouse, I did actually see my dad. And I got the fuck out of there. Ugh. Anyway, I digress. So, growing up, I was closeted, I was gay, and we moved to a very small town in Pennsylvania called Reading. So we were living there, and I had a closeted gay dad. Middle school was hell. I was not out, but a lot of the kids at the school suspected I was gay. Every day they would bully me, and it became really bad. I told my teachers, I told my counselors, and I told the school administrators. I shared with them what was happening with the bullying, and all of them blamed me. They all blamed me because of how I acted, because of how I behaved, because, I had long hair, etc. I had no one to go for support. And everything got really dark. I started thinking about suicide. I was in the 9th grade at the time, and I had everything planned. I was ready. Then my family tells me that we're moving. We're going to be moving to Columbus, Ohio. So I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to put my plan on hold. And once we move, I'm going to see the new place. If it's better, great. If it's the same, I have my plan ready. So when we moved, I'm happy to report Columbus was 1,000 times better. It was a huge improvement. I had friends, I had a social life. It was great. Later I learned that my friends in Columbus, they all kind of knew or suspected that I was gay, but they didn't care. They knew that I would come out when I was ready. So, fast forward to age 30, when I decided to go back to college to become a teacher. So after I graduated, I taught in Louisiana for a year, and then I moved here to Austin, Texas. I became the high school theater teacher at the Texas School for the Deaf. And it was there that I really, really struggled as a gay teacher. My boss was a total homophobic, but I'm very blunt. And I would often call him on his shit to his face. And I was a damn good theater teacher, highly qualified. I produced some amazing shit there. They needed me. They needed me more than I needed them. So, at work with my peers, I had this attitude on National Coming Out Day. Have you seen that meme with the gay guy? There's someone in front of the printer, and the other guy is standing there, and then the gay guy comes up, he's like, "Get out of the way, I'm gay!" That was me. That was me at work. With my boss, with my peers, but never with my students. With my peers, I was unapologetically me. I called my boss a homophobic, and there was a queer deaf woman who was supposed to come give a presentation on a book she wrote related to her son who loved wearing dresses. My boss and his wife had 2 kids in elementary school at the time, and they started to encourage parents to write to the superintendent to oppose this author coming. And I was like, oh, hell no. So I wrote my own letter to the superintendent in support of this author. And I'm happy to say that the superintendent also supported the author. So I remember once we were at a staff meeting, we were talking about some new kind of counseling program or something, and one straight redneck teacher raises his hand, and he was talking about how, if a student were to come up to him and say that they were gay, that he would say, well, you chose that life. You chose that lifestyle, blah, blah, blah. Well, my attitude was, move, I'm gay. So I raised my hand and I said, no, excuse me. Being gay is not a choice. And he said, well, you chose to continue that way. And I yelled at him. I let him have it in front of the entire staff. But what was shocking to me is that I had a lot of friends there. A lot of my peers were my friends, several of them gay. And nobody spoke up. They were all quiet. So I chatted later with a few of them, and they said it just happened so fast, I didn't know what to do. So when that meeting finished, I went to the bathroom and bawled my eyes out. Then later at another meeting, I spoke up and I said, as a teacher, I don't feel confident that I would be able to support my students. And the reason I say that is, how can I support my students? How can I help them when personally, I don't feel safe here in this work? And my boss later came up to me, came into my classroom and said, ooh, that really hit me. That really hit me hard. And said that he hoped that he never added to that feeling. And I said, you are the one who cultivated that culture here at work. And so I called him out on a huge list of different shit that he never realized that I knew. And I listed them all to his face. And he was taken aback. He said, oh, thank you for sharing. I'm sorry. I was very lucky. I could do that. I could stand up for myself. I knew my worth. And, my superiors knew as well. They respected me for that. They listened to me. My boss would always tell me, I really appreciate your bluntness. That I didn't sugarcoat anything. And he would often come up to me to ask for advice because he knew that I would tell him the truth. I would tell it to him straight. But being a teacher was not all bad. My students were amazing. I never came out to them. I never told them that I was gay. But they're high schoolers. They figured it out. I mean, look at me. Except for one kid. I remember this one kid. He was a Texas, down-home country boy. He's got the cowboy hat. And, he wanted to graduate and go work on the oil rig with his daddy.
Oh.
So one day during class, he's talking to one of his peers, and he says, that's so gay. And that moment, that was a teachable moment. I decided, I'm going to come out. And so I said, I'm gay, and that's not appropriate. I said, that's very hurtful to me. As a gay person, you're using my identity as an insult. And I don't like that. He was shocked. After class was over, he stayed in the room and he apologized. He said he wanted to apologize to me. He was shocked to learn that I was gay. He told me that he, was always raised. People always taught him that being gay was wrong, that gay people are dangerous. So I said, well, do you think I'm dangerous? And he said, no, you're cool. And he said, you're my favorite teacher. And I said, okay, so you're telling me that I'm cool, I'm your favorite teacher, and I'm also gay. And now you know that. Does that change things? And he took a moment to think about it. And he said, no, we're good. And he left. I have so many, I had so many queer students there. They knew they could come to me for support. There was one student who came to me to tell me that they were trans and asked me to use their chosen name. And I said, yes, of course. From that point forward, I always used their chosen name. That student had a mother who did work with me at the school. So the student asked me, please, please don't share this conversation with my mom. My mom doesn't support this. And I said, no. Whatever you share with me stays here. I will always support you no matter what. And I never told their mom. I had another student, probably my most favorite story. So this student was a freshman, straight as can be boy. And, if you ever work in education, you know that you have some kids who always wear the same clothes every single day. The same sweater every day. To the point where it starts to smell. Anyway, so this is the kid I'm talking about. So I'm standing in the hall, I'm chatting with a peer of mine, and we're talking about the TV show Queer Eye. And this kid walks up to us and is standing there listening and wants to ask some questions, wants to know a little bit more. So the two of us were like, oh yeah, gay men, we are the best, we have the best fashion sense. I said, we're best friends for straight men. We're, the best wingmen. We can help you dress well. We can help you get a girlfriend. We can help you with all these things. Well, the bell rang and it was time for class to start. So he went into his classroom. Teacher closed the door. The door had a window on it and the window had a poster on it, which was pretty high up. This kid was very short kid. And the next thing I see is he's in the classroom jumping to be seen above the poster. He's signing over the poster. And he just signed 4 words. Brian, you, me, friends. Heartwarming. So my last year teaching there, I was going through my PhD program. And I was ready to go to Las Vegas to present my dissertation. So I told my students that I would be absent for the next week. And I told them where I was going. And that same student who was in my theater class, this is his senior year, comes up to me during the break and says, okay, Mr. Brian, now you're going to Las Vegas next week, right? And I said, yes. And he said, okay, now I want you to grow a pair. I want you to walk up to a guy and talk to him. I want you to find yourself a boyfriend. He said, let's practice. And he grabs a chair. He sits down in front of my desk. And he says, hey, what's up? My name is Z. What's your name? I almost started crying right there on the spot. I was holding back tears. Here's this kid. And again, he grew up in Texas. His dad was the assistant football coach. And, he was a football player. But he was so open-minded. His heart was so open. He was so accepting. And he really cared about his gay teacher. So much so that he wanted me to find love. Wow. Still to this day, that really warms my heart. I love that kid. So, as a gay teacher in Texas, it was not that bad altogether. I'm not a K through 12 teacher anymore. I got my PhD, so now I am Dr. Brian. Thank you. And I run a bachelor's program for ASL interpreting. Looking back, though, with all of my experiences, they really shaped who I am and the type of teacher that I am. I cherish all of my experiences, bad and good. I care about all of my students. I'm open-minded, open-hearted. I'm blunt with them. I'm honest with them. I listen to them. I support them. If they come to me to share something, what they're feeling, if they've been bullied, something dark, I listen. And I support them, just like that. If any change needs to happen, I will force that change to happen to make it better for that kid. And that is what a teacher should always do. They should listen to their students, they should support them, and they should help them when they're being bullied. Don't blame the victim. Cherish every single student. Those kids deserve your support, no matter what. And if you're a teacher and you can't give that support, no matter what, please find a new fucking job. Thank you.
Y'all give it up for Dr. Brian. Let's see some hands. Yay. That was so amazing.